advantage, but it's not the power of your upper body, it's the power of your brain and your strategy. So I'm thinking Esper Aggro is going to take this one down.
You heard it straight from Gerard Fabiano, the power of the brain.
Power of the brain, Magic the Gathering. All you need is a brain, a deck, and a friend. That was the advertisement back in like 1997.
I didn't know they had Magic back in 1997.
Yeah, they did, yeah. All right, so Jared wins the die roll, and he plays a Plains and a Champion of the Parish. Let's see what AJ does. It's just so weird looking at the name Andrew, because I'm so used to calling Andrew AJ,
It's okay, we can call him AJ.
All right, so AJ turns off his phone. All his girlfriends are texting him. They're like, oh, I see you on SCG Live. All right, there is a Knight of Infamy.
So
Knight of Glory. I'm sorry, Knight of Infamy is the black one.
So really good draw for Jared. He won the roll, and he has Champion into 2-drop.
Yeah.
AJ's really on the back foot here.
Yeah, so that Champion just dealt 3 damage to AJ. AJ now plays an Isolated Chapel. The Glare is a lot better now. AJ's pushing his cards to the front of the Star City map. All right, so AJ drops his Elite Inquisitor, I believe it is, one of the promo ones.
Yep, that's an Elite Inquisitor. Really important, the first strike there. Pro Werewolves, not going to do that much, but first strike.
Yeah, definitely.
Hold off that Knight.
Well, for now, but it looks like Jared has another Knight of Glory.
Wow.
So that means his Champion of the Parish is going to be attacking for 5.
Yeah, it'll be a 3/3, and then with the 2 Exalted triggers...
It'll be a 5/5.
5/5. Boom.
Right. So it looks like Jared's going to attack for 5, and he does just that. He announces the Exalted trigger. Although the trigger rules did change a bit, you still want to announce your triggers just in case.
Exactly. Even though the triggers did change, it's not really going to change how I personally play them. It's still going to announce all of them.
Exactly.
That's the way it should be.
So it looks like AJ drew a Geist Saint draft. Not going to do too much. All right, so AJ attacks with the Elite Inquisitor. Because it has Vigilance, it doesn't have to tap to attack. I actually thought there was an argument for Jared to only attack with a Knight of Glory and deal 1 less damage, but be able to block the Elite Inquisitor. But it's better for Jared just to deal the most points of damage.
Yeah, especially with him still at 20, winning the roll with only 2 lands. He has to win this game quickly, or AJ's going to catch back up.
Yeah, it looks like he plays a Gather of the Townsfolk. And you can tell AJ plays a lot of Friday Night Magic, because it looks like lots of these cards are promos, Friday Night Magic foils.
Yeah.
So
probably gets his trade on, trade for that Isolated Chapel there.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so now Jared missed his 3rd land drop, and it looks like he still does not have a 3rd land.
No, now, he's looking for it.
Without lands, these 4 Blind Obediences become a lot worse, because Blind Obedience is kind of insurance when you're flooding out.
Right. Now, in this matchup, Blind Obedience, I think more important than the Extort is going to be the Kismet effect.
Yes, exactly.
All AJ's Gather tokens come into play tapped, it's Elite Inquisitors, everything.
Yeah, all right, so there is the Blind Obedience. So on this turn, Jared attacked with his Champion, and AJ chumped with one of his Star City Jerry Thompson tokens.
Yeah. Both players stuck on 2. As you see, AJ misses on land himself. He has 2 Blind Obediences, but they're not going to do very much.
Exactly. I think AJ might just play one of his Blind Obediences now, just to get it out there. But the game looks really favorable for Jared.
Yeah, and that's the thing about Blind Obedience. It doesn't do that much if you're not beating down.
Sure. All right, so there is a Blind Obedience. AJ attacks for 2 with the Elite Inquisitor and passes the turn. So Jared really wants a 3rd land drop here, and he draws it. I think I gave him some power there. I was like, come on, Jared, do it, do it.
You willed it to the top.
Yeah, and you could tell he kind of like spreads his Knight of Glories.
That's how you play Moto, too.
Yeah, I do, yeah. You got to will the power of the draw.
Exactly.
Talk to your deck. Talk to your top card. Say, hey, Jace the Mind Sculptor, rise to the top right now. All right, 3 mana. There's probably a Silver Blade Paladin. As you can see, Jared just puts it right into play tap because of the AJ's Blind Obedience. Champion of the Parish gets a counter. Did he announce a bond, do you think? A soul bond?
Yeah, I think it's bonded to the Champion.
Yeah, it is. Okay, bonded with the Champion, we got confirmation. So it looks like Jerry Thompson's going to chump block again here. And does just that. I mean, AJ's just in a really bad spot here.
Exactly.
Even if he were to draw his 3rd land, it's just, a Geist Saint Trap is not going to do anything here, really, besides chump block.
A really bad card in the matchup. I think this mono-white deck has a decided advantage in this matchup in general. Of course, this game, too.
I think he did just draw a Godless Shrine. Is that the top card in AJ's hand now?
Yeah, it looks like it.
Yeah, it looks like a Godless Shrine he drew.
So he'll have to drop to 10 if he wants 3 mana this turn.
Yeah.
I think what he'll have to do is play Gather the Townsfolk if he wants to have a chance here.
I mean, he doesn't even have another townsfolk in his hand.
No, I don't think he does.
Yeah.
He would have played it last turn.
I mean, the interaction with paying 2 life is pretty cool. You know, you get to Faithful Hour. So there is a Lingering Souls from AJ. But I mean, the Souls tokens are just coming to play tap.
Right, so that'll be good for next turn.
But this turn, nothing.
Yeah, this turn the Elite Inquisitor will have to jump in front of that champion.
No, I mean, honestly, I think Jared is just going to attack with everything this turn.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that play a lot better.
Yeah. It'll still have to jump in front of the champion, but Jared will be able to deal 8 damage here, looks like. But he's trying to figure out a way to kill Andrew this turn,
Yeah.
and I think he has it.
Does he? What does he have? Does he have a Fiend
I
Hunter?
think he has another Silver Blade.
Another Silver Blade. So he's going to pair the Silver Blade with the Knight of Glory. And that should be enough, right?
I think so. I think that's 10 damage.
Wow. He's only attacking with Champion?
Wow, I really don't like that. Jared being a little timid here.
He was forced to... He just missed out on a free 8 damage.
He did.
Yeah.
Could have won the game here.
Yeah, he had 1 on board. I mean, I guess he's probably going to win anyway, but yeah, he did have 1 on board. There's a Boros Reckoner.
A lot of times the Exalted really tricks you into only attacking with 1 creature. It's
Yeah.
like, well, I've Exalted. This guy will be huge. He'll have to chump block. Sometimes the right play is just to jam all your guys in.
Yeah, I would be. I mean, this would be awesome now if AJ actually wins this game.
Yeah, I don't see it happening.
Yeah.
But if anyone can do it, it's little AJ here.
You think so? Maybe. AJ, we have a lot of confidence in you. So, all right. There's an Isolated Chapel. So AJ has access to all his colors. He has a Hollow Fountain. He's got a Godless Shrine, Isolated Chapel. But he's just
the
thinking.
mana in Standard is so good right now, and Jared Blumberg 23 planes in his deck.
Yeah.
I love it.
All right, there's a Lingering Souls, and he's going to use the Blind Obedience right here. So AJ's going to gain a life. Jared's going to lose a life. Now, you know, Jared didn't see it last turn. He didn't see, hey, I'm just going to attack with everything last turn. Maybe this turn, once again, he won't see it, and AJ will keep buying himself time.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see what's going to happen. All right, so another Knight of Glory from Jared off the top.
That'll make that champion a pretty big Exalted creature.
Yeah, very big. Too big. Yeah.
Too big to even count.
Yeah, we'll just say it's lethal. Why not? All right, so looks like Jared's moving around some of his creatures, making room for his next Knight of Glory, possibly. I'm not too sure, but once again, Blind Obedience on both sides of the table. One of the standard Gate Crash cards that's going to see a lot of play. Boros Reckoner on the table as well. Another Gate Crash card. Gate Crash definitely shook up Standard and will continue to shake up Standard.
Yeah, in a big way.
All right, there's Silverblade Paladin coming into play tapped. He doesn't have the extra mana to use the Blind Obedience.
It looks like he paired that with the Knight of Glory.
Did he? Not the...
I'm not sure. I thought
Yeah, Knight of Glory? Okay, it was Knight of Glory. All right. So now everybody's coming in? I hope so. All right, he probably heard us. Ooh. What's that one Knight of Glory doing back there?
I'm not sure. He must be playing defense.
Yeah, I mean, he can't...
Prepared for the counter swing.
I mean, what could he be worried about? AJ's creatures has flying.
Yeah.
So it's not like the Knight of Glory could actually do anything.
I'm not really sure. I think he doesn't want to lose Knight of Glory to a 1/1 flying spirit, but what he doesn't understand is that those spirits have to block elsewhere.
Yeah, and if he's attacking with one Knight of Glory, why would not the second one?
Well, one is paired with the Silver Blade.
Sure. But it's just, still just, you know...
Right.
Yeah.
I completely agree.
All right. So
block. AJ is looking to take 7 this turn.
Yeah.
4 from the Knight of Glory, 3 from the Reckoner.
Yeah, the second Silverblade Paladin is not attacking, even though it's tapped. It's because he played it this turn.
Right.
And the Blind Obedience caused it to come to play tapped. All right, so AJ survives another turn, where Jared could have probably ended the game already, especially with last attack and this attack. But regardless, AJ scoops up his cards, can't really survive the next turn.
Yeah, Jared didn't know it, but AJ really didn't have any outs there. 0 Supreme Verdicts in the deck.
I guess Jared's just trying to be careful, but I still definitely didn't agree with his line there.
Yeah, I mean, he had the win on board, but
yeah.
Exalted, like I said, these abilities like Exalted, easy to mess up.
All right, so it looks like AJ's going to bring in some more Elite Inquisitors, I think, just because they're their first strike and their vigilance. So they can definitely hold off the ground. Riders of Gavany, yeah. I think he's going to bring in that.
Great versus the mono white deck.
Probably Terminus, and probably Divine Deflection as well.
Exactly. I would board in any number of Terminuses if I was AJ.
Yeah, so I think he's really going to change his deck around some. He's definitely going to take out his Dahlias. Dahlias, even though they're first strike creatures, they don't really do much against Jared. Jared literally has all creatures and 4 blind obediences.
Exactly. Jared also has his own Thalias, which I guess is maybe an argument to keep him, but I would still side him out. They hurt you way more than they hurt Jared.
Yeah, I'm actually kind of surprised that AJ is playing Thalia. Maybe he thinks that his, red, white, blue flash matchup or his Esper matchup isn't very good, so he needs something like a Thalia to, give him a small edge.
Right.
But overall, Thalia, that was one of the first things I noticed. Is like, you don't really want to be playing Thalia and Lingering Souls. Thalia and Sphinx's Revelation.
Yeah, Thalia and Sphinx's Revelation is particularly ugly.
Yeah, it's... Sphinx's Revelation is still a good card if it costs 4 mana, but just not as good. Right. Especially, AJ's not playing a deck like a ban control deck where he has Farseek to help him ramp.
Exactly. He's not playing a Think Twice deck.
Yeah, and the other thing is that AJ's only playing 23 lands. A lot of the really good Sphinx's Revelation, minimum 25 lands.
Yeah, and that's on the low side. A lot are playing 27.
Yeah, the Esper
28.
Yeah, because the Esper control decks, they need to play 27 or 28 lands because they have Nephalia Dragons.
Right.
But they're so reliant on Sphinx's Revelation that if something goes wrong, you don't draw Sphinx's Revelation, your opponent wrests it away, they slaughter games you. Your deck just turned into a really, really weak deck. But Jared won the first game. Again, I'm Gerard Fabiano here with Zach Hall. We have Jared Blumberg on the right, and we have AJ Kerrigan on the left with Esper Aggro. I really like the innovation that AJ took. Esper Aggro, you don't really see a deck like this. He probably tried it out at a couple of his Friday Night Magics, figured why not take a shot at an SCG Open, see how I do. And AJ did have some success on the SCG circuit.
Yeah, no, he definitely has. He has been known to play a little off the wall decks.
But he does have the brain power.
He does.
Yeah.
He does.
To definitely really succeed, and that's what you need. To become a really successful Magic player, you need determination to become a successful Magic player. Because if you don't really care about it, you're not going to succeed to the level of, making,
qualifying for invitational, qualifying for Pro Tour, whatever it may be.
Yeah,
and if AJ is this good and this dedicated at like 2.25 feet tall as he is right now, imagine in a few years, he's going to be tearing it up.
AJ's still very young. I think he's either 14 or 15.
Yeah.
So definitely a young player. Actually, back in the day, I had the SCG tournaments, but it was more just the early stages.
Right.
Now, invitationals almost every weekend, $10,000 in prizes on the first day, $10,000 in prizes on the second day. 8 people both days qualifying for the invitational. That's just something really cool.
Exactly. Now it's a full circuit as opposed to just a few events.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Definitely something really awesome Star City Games did, and I'm really happy to see it grow and more players come out to each event.
Looking at Jared Blumberg's sideboard, he has Faith Shield, he has Rest in Peace, Oblivion Ring, Witchbane Orb, Nevermore. Not a heck of a lot of tools in this matchup. I think mostly we'll just see the Faith Shields coming in.
I really like Faith Shield a lot. I think he's probably going to bring an Oblivion Ring. He saw that AJ did have Blind Obedience.
Right.
So he might just think, hey, I'm playing 4 Blind Obedience. Maybe AJ's playing 4 Blind Obediences. It could be a Blind Obedience war after sideboard. Lots of times after sideboard, decks become slower, more grindy, where Blind Obedience could really step up his game. So he probably wants to definitely have answers to Blind Obedience.
Yeah, so we'll see Jared bring in a Fiend Hunter, 2 Oblivion Rings, 4 Faith Shield.
Yeah, now, do you think there's any chance that Jared wants to bring in, say, a Nevermore?
Oh, that's an interesting card. What do you think he'd name?
Probably Lingering Souls.
Yeah.
Just making a lot of tokens is really annoying for an aggressive deck. And being able to shut off AJ's Lingering Souls. Lots of times people play Lingering Souls, it's a 4-off.
Right.
AJ's only playing 3. Obviously Jared doesn't know it, but he knows that AJ does have Lingering Souls in his deck.
He does know that Lingering Souls makes War Falcon look very embarrassing.
Exactly. Yeah, unless he has a bunch of exalted creatures in play.
Right.
So it looks like AJ cannot keep his opening hand, so he's going to mulligan that to 6. Actually, when I play versus AJ, I feel lots of times he either mulligans or he should mulligan and doesn't. So maybe AJ just doesn't have the right shuffle.
That's the key to a successful Magic player.
So, sometimes.
The right shuffle. I mean, we've seen Saito do it. It's that overhand squeeze. Yeah.
All right, so AJ will now just draw 6. Hopefully he can keep a 6, because lots of times in Standard or in limited formats, mulliganing down to 5 is really bad. In Legacy, it's fine. Obviously you don't want to mulligan down to 5 in Legacy, but there's just some combo decks that just going to win with 5 cards.
Yeah.
There's Brainstorm, there's Stoneforge Mystic, there's Jace the Mind Sculptor, where just one of those cards really get back the mulligan or the double mulligan that you might have done.
Exactly. The only time I ever played against AJ was in a Star City. I think it was the first round of a Legacy.
Okay.
And he was playing Storm deck. He mulliganed to 5, and he beat me easily that game.
Yeah, I believe it. So let's see if AJ likes his 6-card hand. He's looking at it. kind of debating, but he says okay, and decides to keep. Anything with a couple of lands here, he's just pretty much going to have to run with. All right, so there's a Hallowed Fountain from AJ, and just passes the turn. Now the shock lands are actually going to get reprinted in Dragon Maze as well. All of them.
All 10.
Yeah, that's something really neat.
Yeah, I don't think they've ever done anything like that.
Yeah, all right, so there's a Godless Shrine. So AJ's first couple of turns, nothing really aggressive. Let's see what 2-drop Jared has here. Oh, his own Elite Inquisitor. Kind of interesting.
Yep, that's a full 4 of in his deck.
Yeah. All right, so AJ's third land drop, and he just drew a Silverblade Paladin.
Silverblade Paladin, yeah.
Yeah. Another one of the promo Friday Night Magic foily type cards.
Yeah, he's really giving us a run for our money here. He's making this tough.
Yeah, he's testing us. He's like, because I know pretty much every card based on picture.
Right.
But when the picture is different and it's foil, it's kind of tricky. But there is a Silverblade Paladin.
So Jared will be able to get in for at least 2 this turn. We'll see if he has his own. Nope.
All right, so he decides to attack for 2 points of first strike damage. AJ can't do anything here because it just would have been a chump block. And there's a Fiend Hunter targeting the Silverblade Paladin. So really good draw for Jared so far. A 2-drop and a 3-drop with the removal spell. So definitely really solid.
Yeah, Fiend Hunter is just a straight up removal spell in this matchup. As Andrew does not have many ways to get rid of the creatures.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so there's a Riders of Gavany. One of the rares from Avacyn Restored. You don't really see too much Avacyn Restored going on. You see Restoration Angel, you see Bonfire. You know, Grizzlebrand kind of died off the mat. We did see Tameo, but besides for that, Avacyn Restored is kind of a small set. Didn't really see too much cards from there. You know, Cavern of Soul, sure, but
yeah, of course the breakout ones, but a lot of the mid-level cards just weren't really tournament staples.
Yeah, even a Vexing Devil is just kind of like sometimes you see it in a mono red deck, sometimes you don't. So, all right, so Jared has his 4th land, his 4th plains, because all he has is 23 plains in his deck. He taps 2, and there's the first Blind Obedience of Game 2.
And that's a pretty big deal because AJ only has the 3/3 in play right now.
Yeah, exactly. So the Blind Obedience could definitely gain him a lot of life and deal lots of damage here. And that's going to be the first point of damage, first point of life loss in the form of Champion of the Parish.
Yeah. Let's see how much life Blind Obedience gains and deals this game. So far we're at 1 activation.
And obviously Riders of Gavany, protection from humans.
Right.
All right, so it's AJ's turn 5 right here. Let's see if he has a 5th land. Let's see what he can really do. All right, so he decides to swing in for 3 points of damage. Let's tap some mana. All right, so there is a Gather the Townsfolk. Both these soldier tokens are going to come into play tapped. All right, and those Jerry Thompson tokens are tapped. And I believe he has a 5th land.
Looks like it, but it also looks like he might be running out of cards. He has so many lands this game.
Yeah, I mean he did mulligan, and he looks like he is kind of flooding out. All right, there's a Moorland Haunt.
Yeah, he does have 1 Moorland Haunt, 1 Vault of the Archangel in his deck, so those lands give him a little more play.
Yeah. Ooh, is that a second Blind Obedience?
Yeah, it is.
Wow, that is just... Yeah, once the Blind Obediences start to chain, you have more mana, you have enough mana to do whatever you want. It's just really brutal for your opponent.
Exactly, and with that Riders of Gavany out, Jared Blumberg kind of stymied on the attack phase. It's going to be hard for him to get in damage there. He might just have to Blind Obedience.
Yeah, and I mean,
out.
I think that would be fine. I think Jared could win the game pretty much on the base of Blind Obediences. Blind Obedience, there you see it on your screen. 1 colorless, 1 white from Gatecrash Enchantment. It has Exort, and all your opponent's artifacts and creatures come into play tapped. You know, which is kind of relevant, but the main thing is that it's an Exort that is not really killable. It's not a creature that should have died to a Supreme Verdict. It gives you another way to deal lots of damage.
Right. Now, see, I don't think I like that. I think I would have rather just gotten the Blind Obedience.
Exactly. Yeah. Jared decides to play a Knight of Glory, but doesn't use the Blind Obedience. Doesn't play the second Blind Obedience first. And and he plays Elite Inquisitor. Now, this is all great. You know, you're thinking, hey, Jared's building up his board, but he's really nullifying the powerful impact that Blind Obedience has on the game. This game could go long, especially if you're gaining life. So I think I would have taken a different line here. I think if I were Jared, I would want to get down as many Blind Obediences as I could, and then worry about it. All right, Andrew does draw a Vault of the Archangel, which is going to be really powerful.
Wow.
And I mean, maybe Jared's play is better here because of the vault being dropped by AJ. I'm not too sure.
Yeah, me neither. It's kind of interesting. AJ will activate it. He'll gain 5 life.
Yeah.
And yeah, now Jared looks like a genius for developing his board state.
Exactly.
Because soon he's going to have to push with those creatures.
Yeah, because AJ only has 1 creature back to block. And even though the Riders of Gavany's not going to die, Jared's still going to get in a lot of damage.
Right.
Now this would be a great spot for, a sideboarded Oblivion Ring. Take out that Riders of Gavany, pretty much end the game right here.
Yeah, Jared may be regretting the Fiend Hunter on the Silver Blade, but these humans decks, they just have so many must-answer creatures. Gavany, Fiend Hunter, Champion of the Parish sometimes.
Yeah, Silverblade Paladin.
Silverblade Paladin,
yeah. And that's how Magic really is developing too. It used to be all spells. Now it's all the creatures are really powerful.
Exactly. So many creatures are must-answer creatures.
Yeah,
so many creatures have so many cards built into them. Like Champion of the Parish costs 1 mana. How big was it last game? 6/6?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, definitely. Yeah, especially with the Exalt, it was attacking as a 5/5. I think on turn 2 or turn 3.
Right.
Yeah, turn 3. So
while this does look really good for AJ, 1 single removal spell is going to mess up his whole plan. Is going to get rid of the Riders.
Yeah, definitely. And I think now might be an okay time to attack with everything. Besides for the Fiend Hunter, we'll see what happens. Jared's tapping 4 mana. It might be a Silverblade Paladin with the Blind Obedience's trigger. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. So Blind Obedience is going to trigger. Champion of the Parish is going to grow.
So that's 2 Blind Obedience triggers so far.
All right, we have a count running right here. Now, can Jared attack or not yet?
I think he can just send with all his creatures right now. If the Riders of Gavany doesn't jump in front of the champion, that's a ton of damage.
So he's facing down 8, 10, 12, 14, 16. All right, not yet. Jared wants to kind of hold off. If he's going to hold off, though, I believe that is a second Blind Obedience in his hand, correct?
It is, yeah.
So I think you want to drop the Blind Obediences first and then start developing your board more and doing a double activation.
Right, now he has this Blind Obedience in hand and no spells to trigger it.
Yeah. So AJ plays his own Silverblade Paladin. That's coming into play tapped. He's going to soul bond with the Riders of Gavany. So even though it looked like AJ was kind of mana flooded, he kind of, did draw some spells and get out of this mulligan that he took. Okay, so Jared looks to go to block, but AJ reminds him, hey, you can't. My guys have protection from humans.
Exactly.
So
all of his humans have protection from all of Jared's humans.
Exactly. And the only other creatures in AJ's deck are pretty much Lingering Souls, which Jared can't block anyway because they have fly.
Right, and Geist of St. Traff, which has probably been boarded out.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, he definitely sideboarded out against St. Traff. That's probably one of the worst cards in this matchup. Okay, so Jared drew another Plains. So with all this extra mana, he would have been able to double Blind Obedience, but now all he can really do is play a Blind Obedience, trigger for 1, and
die.
Yeah. I mean, I think he's just dead on board. Yep. All right, so dead on board. We're going to game 3. Jared on the right side of your screen playing a mono-white humans deck. AJ to the left of your screen is playing a blue, black, white Esper aggro / human type deck.
Yeah, and I really like Jared Blumberg's style here with the 23 planes. Also, under archetype, on his deck list sheet, he wrote down White Weenie, which is kind of a blast from the past.
Yeah.
Don't often hear White Weenie anymore.
Yeah, you normally hear humans or whatnot, yeah. So Jared may be an old school player. So they'll be going to game 3. They still have about 25 minutes, as you can see on the clock right there. So they're definitely going to finish. I mean, 2 aggressive decks like this, it's not going to go into extra time, most likely. It's not going to be a draw. But if we ever feature like a red, white, blue aggro deck or a mid-range flash type deck versus Esper Control, a matchup like that could definitely go into extra time.
So game 3, Jared Blumberg will be on the play.
Definitely.
And I have to say, I like his chances on the play. I really do. On the draw, it was probably a coin flip. On the play, he just has such a faster core to his deck.
Yeah.
The Champions, the War Falcons, way more 2-drops than AJ. Sublime Archangel too, which we haven't even mentioned yet.
Yeah.
That card is just a house that can end the game so quickly.
Yeah, Sublime Archangel is a really interesting card. It came out in M13. It was pretty much one of the most expensive cards in M13, it was always like a $30, $40 card. It dipped down a little, but it never saw play, and it still held its value. All of a sudden, it dropped down to $20 now.
Right.
Because I guess just after a while, it's not seeing play, not seeing play. I don't understand why. It's just such a powerful card. 4 mana, 4/3 flyer, which is already pretty good. It has Exalted, which is really good, and it gives all your other creatures Exalted. So it's kind of interesting that it just never really sees play in any deck.
Yeah, you know, it really didn't justify its price tag for a long time, but I've heard a lot of people say since Gatecrash came out, it's one of the really underplayed cards in Standard right now.
Yeah.
A Boros Reckoner Sublime Archangel deck might be exactly the formula for these white decks.
Yeah, I can definitely see that being a really good combo. So, and that's exactly what Jared has. He has 4 Boros Reckoners and 3 Sublime Archangel. Now, in Standard, it's always been the 4-drop has been, you had so many options, right? You have like Hero of Oxbridge, and then you had Koth. You're like, all right, which one am I going to play? And you had like Hero of Bladehold.
Right.
You just always had lots of options for 4-drops. And I mean, again, you still do. You know, whether you're an Esper Control deck or an aggro deck, I feel the 4-drop slot is always filled up, you know? You have Huntmaster of the Fellas, you just have Sorin, you could just play pretty much anything in like a Dark Knight type deck.
Exactly. The harder parts of your curve to fill are always the lower end of the curve.
Yeah, exactly.
Always less options there.
Yeah, because, you know, a 1-drop is usually good on turn 1, but not so good on turn, 4, turn 5.
Right, exactly. Whereas if you're playing a 4-drop on turn 4, I don't care what 4-drop it is, it's gonna impact the game a lot.
Yeah, or if you're playing a 4,
4,
or if you're playing a 4-drop on turn 6 or 7, it's still probably gonna impact the game a good amount.
Right.
Yeah. So these players are shuffling up. They presented in under 3 minutes, which is pretty good.
And that's kind of draft strategy a lot of the time too. It's like you usually want to take the card that costs less because the 5-drops, the 6-drops, they're so interchangeable. They all do pretty much the same thing.
Yeah. And you also don't want the card stuck in your hand, but you don't want to be playing only 1s and 2-drops, because then when you do have 4 or 5 mana, you're playing an underpowered card. All right, so Jared's going to be on the play. Jared's on the right of your screen with mono white. I'm Gerard Fabiano here with Zach Hall. So hopefully both players will keep, and we'll have a good game 3.
Yeah, and it looks like they are.
Yeah. All right, so no 1-drop, but I mean, I guess that's fine. He only really has War Falcon and or the Champion of the Parish.
Right. And not having a 1-drop, it seems really bad for the aggro deck, but Jared Blumberg's deck, it's not that big of a deal.
Yeah. All right, so AJ goes down to 18 because he plays an untapped Godless Shrine, so he's able to cast his Champion of the Parish. And there's a Night of Glory from Jared. So AJ draws, plays an Isolated Chapel. He gets to be untapped because of the Godless Shrine. And let's see if he has another play. A Gatherer of the Townsfolk would probably be the best card right here.
Yeah, that would kind of allow him to steal the playback from Jared Blumberg, get a ton of power onto the board.
Yeah, and attack for 3. But I think if he had it, he probably just would have played it already.
Yeah, he would have slammed it.
Yeah, but maybe not.
I think we're looking at an Elite Inquisitor here.
All right, Elite Inquisitor, so Champion of Parish. And is he going to swing in? Yes or no? Let's see. What do you think?
I don't think so. I wouldn't swing in. Champion of the Parish is just too valuable in this matchup.
Yeah.
I think he has to say go.
All right, he doesn't swing in, which I could kind of agree with. And Jared draws his card for the turn. It looks like Jared has 2 Fiend Hunters in his hand.
Wow.
Is that right, or just 1?
It looks like 2.
It looks like 2, yeah. I mean, he does have access to a full 4 after sideboard, so...
Yeah, Jared's hand is very good. He has 2 Fiend Hunters, he has a Boros Reckoner, he has a Silverblade Paladin, and then another card. Can't tell what.
I think if I were Jared right here, I would just Fiend Hunter away that Elite Inquisitor and attack him for 3. But it says he's going to play Boros Reckoner, which is also a good play here. Yeah, Boros Reckoner is probably actually even a better play, a better line.
Yeah, I like his line because I think the game is probably going to go long. And I don't know if I'd want to blow a Fiend Hunter on just a 2.
Elite Inquisitor, sure, yeah. You probably want to save it for like a bigger champion or whatnot.
Right.
Yeah, that's definitely fair. Yeah, so Jared plays a Boros Reckoner, passes the turn. AJ, I did think AJ had a Silver Blade Paladin in his hand. I'm not sure if he has a 3rd Lando. All right, so there is Gather the Townsfolk.
Well, so he didn't play that on turn 2. It looks like he wanted to set up the defense of the Inquisitor.
Oh, did he have it on turn 2?
I'm not sure.
I'm not even too sure.
He might have drawn it this turn.
Yeah.
But now the question is, can he attack with that champion?
I mean, I guess he could, but it's just going to trade with the Boros Reckoner.
Right, and I don't think that's good. I think the Boros Reckoner is as big as it's ever going to be. The champion is only going to grow.
Yeah. But he decides to attack anyway. Let's see what Jared does. I think Jared could probably just take it here and untap it, Fiend Hunter it away. Yeah, and that's exactly what he does.
Yep, his Life Tool definitely a resource, as both these decks have no reach except for Blind Obedience.
Ooh, there's another Fiend Hunter.
Wow.
Yeah, that's his third Fiend Hunter. So he could just sit back and just Fiend Hunter everything away and just start bashing in.
Exactly. AJ access to 0 detention spheres.
Yeah. So if the Boros Reckoner attack, it will be exalted into a 4/4.
Yeah, and that's huge.
Yeah. Definitely really good. Definitely a really good card. So let's see what play Jay, what Jared's play is. Jared's kind of analyzing the situation. What exactly does he want to do? Does he want to do anything pre-combat? Does he want to wait? So Boros Reckoner coming in, and AJ's probably just going to take this damage right here, and he does just that. I think Jared wants to, Fiend Hunter, and I think he's going to target the champion of the parish, which makes the most sense.
Right, he has to get that champion off the battlefield right here.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean, Boros Reckoner is just so difficult to block, just because for 1 white mana or 1 red mana, he can just gain first strike. So it's just like, hey, what am I going to do here, really, you know?
Exactly. He's so hard to block down. Even by something like the Elite Inquisitor, it has first strike too, but what will happen is it'll deal 2. The Boros Reckoner will then deal 2 to the creature without first strike.
Yeah, so it's
nullifying your block.
Yeah. So if AJ wanted to triple block there, he would just lose everything and take damage.
Right.
Yeah.
It's just really, really good card. Important to note, Boros Reckoner, not a human. A lot of people thought it was a human at first, but it's not. It doesn't trigger Elite Inquisitor.
Yeah.
And more importantly, it can block Riders of Gavin.
Yeah. It doesn't trigger Champion of the Parish.
Right. That's what I meant.
Yeah. Instead, it is a Minotaur Wizard, correct?
Yeah. You don't see a lot of those.
Yeah. All right, so AJ finally drew his 3rd land in the form of the Cavern of Souls, and there is a Silverblade Paladin. So he's probably going to soul bond it with what is he? I guess the Elite Inquisitor. I mean, it still looks really bad for AJ. I mean, AJ probably doesn't know how bad it is, but we know Jared has 2 more Fiend Hunters in his hand.
Right. Depending on what was in AJ's hand, I might have soul bonded that to nothing. I don't know. That's kind of tough to just put it on a 2/2.
That already had first strike.
Right. That 2/2 doesn't do much.
Yeah. Well, we'll see what happens here. Now, I mean, Jared doesn't even need to draw anything else for the rest of the game. He can just win with the Fiend Hunters in his hand, most likely.
Yeah, Jared, a great draw for this game, and really just a great matchup for him in general.
Yeah, Fiend Hunters are so good against a deck like AJ's. I think Fiend Hunters is probably one of the best cards that's not really being played. You know, you see some people playing it in their sideboard, maybe like 1 or 2 main deck, but kind of rarely.
Yeah, you know, there are a lot of effects like that. There's the Detention Sphere, there's Oblivion Ring, there's Fiend Hunter.
Yeah.
Fiend Hunter, though, Shrinker's Champion of the Parish.
It also just gives you another body in play.
Right.
Yeah.
A 1/3, too.
Alright, so Silverblade Paladin goes under the Fiend Hunter, the second Fiend Hunter. And again, I think Jared just wants to swing with the Boros Reckoner. There's no need not to. He has the white mana up as well to give it first strike if he needs to. And AJ just takes 4 more points of damage.
Yeah, he can't do anything about it. He's trying to find some way to block
Was
that
that
card
a Geist
effectively.
draft?
It might have been. That's a really bad card to have in your deck after board on the draw.
It does kind of look like it, right?
Yeah, it does.
It's the front card.
I think it is.
Yeah, I mean, I can't really see a scenario where Geist Draft's gonna take over the game, and it doesn't even work well with his Riders of Gavany. And I would much rather have cards like Divine Deflection or Terminus in my deck as well.
Yeah, I can't believe that he has Geist in his deck at the same time as Terminus.
Yeah, I mean, it might not be a Geist, so
right.
It's not confirmed. But if it is, it seems kind of bad.
It could have been like a Sorin, Lord of Innistrad.
Yeah, I mean,
Sphinx's Revelation. Those are both cards.
Sorin would have been a lot better. But if I know AJ, I'm sure we're just seeing things and it's not a Geist.
I hope so. We'll see.
All right, so AJ's doing some math here, thinking what he really could do to get out of this game. No blind obedience from either player this game.
Yeah, it looks like he has a Syndic of Tithes, and if you're unfamiliar with that, it's just 2 for a 2/2 extort.
Yeah, another Gate Crash card.
Yep. Only one of in AJ's deck.
Yeah, it's just another 2-drop. Gives you some late game.
Exactly, something to fill the curve.
Yeah. So AJ passes the turn. Jared draws for his turn. Oh wow, a Silverblade Paladin. So he just has everything he needs.
Exactly. He could bond that Paladin with the Reckoner if he wanted to. That's an option. It doesn't really need it.
Yeah.
That would force AJ into chump block mode 1 turn sooner.
Yeah. The more I look at it, the more I think it's not a Geist Trap.
Geist.
Yeah. So, sometimes I see leaving one in as like the Miser's Geist, you know?
Yeah, because I mean, sometimes you just turn 3 it and it wins.
Yeah.
Even in this matchup.
All right, there's a Silverblade Paladin. He's going to bond it with the Knight of Glory.
Okay, I like that play.
So, if you're Jared here, what do you attack with?
I just attack with the Knight and the Reckoner. I don't see any reason to only attack with Reckoner.
Yeah, especially if the Knight trades off with like the Elite Inquisitor.
Right, that's a great win for Jared.
Yeah. All right, so he swings it with both as you suggested, and I think AJ is just gonna put the Elite Inquisitor in front of the Knight of Glory.
Yeah, he doesn't have much of a choice here. That's really the only block he can make.
Probably does he chump block the? No, there's no point to chump block the Boros Reckoner. Just take 3 damage.
Yeah, I think taking 3 is fine. He'll start chump blocking next turn probably.
Yeah. So AJ looks cold, doesn't he? It's cold in here.
There's a lot of snow out there.
A lot of snow out there, yeah.
Edison, New Jersey, resembling Hoth this weekend.
Yeah, definitely.
So yeah, AJ's going to throw his Elite Inquisitor in front of the Knight, I think. The Elite... Oh, maybe we're looking at a triple block?
Does triple block do anything here? It's a 3/3.
No, it doesn't actually.
It gives first strike. It kills that. I wouldn't really do too much.
No, because the Knight would first strike down a 2/2 and a 1/1.
And then the Boros Reckoner would take that damage, but then send it back to the one of AJ's creatures.
Right.
Yeah. So is he gonna? Yeah, I'm not really too sure what he's gonna do here.
Okay, looks like he's gonna double block the Knight of Glory. The Knight will first strike down the 2/2 extort.
And then the token would eat the Knight of Glory.
Yep.
That seems fine.
Yeah, that's a good trade for AJ.
Yeah.
The problem with that, though, is it doesn't deal with the Silverblade Paladin, and whatever creature he plays next turn will bond with it again.
Exactly, yeah.
Even if it is only a Fiend Hunter.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of more creature-on-creature combat in the standard format.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. A lot of combat here.
And Jared's probably going to just pass a turn now, which he does. And I mean, AJ's just in like a world to hurt. And this kind of just shows maybe like the fault of AJ's deck, where casting a Sphinx Revelation is just so out of the question. It's just, I mean, first of all, he can't even cast it. And then even if you were to be able to cast it, it would be for 0.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. At first, I like the Sphinx's Revelation in this aggressive deck, but really, the more I watch this play out, the more I think that this standard format is all about just attacking as much as you can, as often as you can.
Yeah, it definitely is.
Control is hard to play here.
Yeah, all right. So then we have a Patrick Chapin token for AJ's Gather the Townsfolk. He played a second one this game, and then he also plays a Doomed Traveler. The Traveler has been doomed. Oh wow! Did you see what Jared just drew? He drew a Sublime Archangel.
Wow.
Yeah, the first of the match.
Now that doesn't really do too much. This turn.
Yeah, this turn. But if he just pairs it with a Silverblade Paladin, it's like
next turn is just
20 damage almost.
Damage, yeah.
And that's exactly what's going to happen.
And he won't even attack with that Reckoner.
Yeah, there's no point to.
Yeah, the Doom Traveler would jump in the way and give him another flying blocker.
Yeah, exactly. So the Sublime Archangel is lethal next turn. So I'm excited to see if AJ has anything to stop it.
It is. None of those tokens are flyers, right?
None of those tokens are flyers. He's got a Jerry Thompson human, another Jerry Thompson. Ooh, I don't know about attacking with his Boros Reckoner. Yeah. Especially you play the Sublime Archangel first, and then you play the Boros Reckoner. It really conflicts your strategy. I mean, Jared still has his third Fiend Hunter in his hand.
Yeah, so it's not really too big of a deal.
Yeah, but still, maybe AJ now plays like another flyer or something.
Right.
Yeah,
I wouldn't have attacked. I don't see any reason to. If the Sublime Archangel plan fails, then you can start attacking again.
Yeah, exactly. In general, you want to give your opponent the least information as you could. You don't really want to, play out your creatures first, then attack, give them more information on whether to block or not block. The other thing is that AJ could just have, like you said, just another flyer or whatnot. All right. So now the Boros Reckoner damage is going to be dealt to a Jerry Thompson token. AJ now gets a 1/1 flyer because the Doom Traveler had went to the graveyard.
Yep, so not so bad for Jared. Even though I wouldn't have attacked there, it's really not a big deal.
Yeah, it's not a big deal. It's just seems a little worse than what he could really be doing. you know, if anything, maybe the Boar's Reckoner could have just dealt damage elsewhere as well.
Right.
All right, there's a Thalia, and that's probably going to be game.
Yeah, as long as Jared casts his Fiend Hunter pre-combat,
Yeah.
this should do it.
All right, so it looks like Jared's going to move on to 2-0. Let's see if he sees the play. I think he will. He separated the 3 mana pretty quickly.
Yep, here it comes.
Fiend Hunter on the 1/1 Spirit token, and AJ extends the hand. AJ shows what he had, but couldn't really do anything. And Jared now is 2-0
Yeah, 2-0, well on his way to top 8ing this tournament.
with his 23 planes.
Yeah, mono white, white meanie. I love it.
All right, I'm